anyway, it's just that kind of stuff where it's like.
Well, we
We're
can
so far
keep
behind.
using, as long as they keep passing the pumping test and stuff, like, we can keep using the old stuff. It's just that our fire insurance is gonna go up
Right,
for everybody.
right. I'm just saying.
That's the drawback.
Right, but I mean,
If you,
isn't
if we
there
figure the cost difference between fire insurance going up and the new truck, well, you know.
Yes.
You know,
You know, how much does the fire insurance go up?
yeah, like, how much does
Right.
the fire insurance go up if we don't
Right.
stay within the guidelines?
Right, no, and
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, I'm just
Yeah.
saying like, you know, what is the cost of refurbishing that truck
Right.
and getting what equipment we need updated and getting the motor,
Right, no,
whatever,
yeah, exactly.
versus, and, you know, I know somebody who works at Rosenbauer, and if you guys think you're gonna get that truck in 18 months or 2 years, you're out of your mind.
Yeah,
They're so far behind, they get you to sign and they take your money, and
Yep.
you're gonna be waiting years and years for that truck. And in the meantime, what are you doing with this truck? You spent all the money on this new truck, you have no money to keep that one going. Well, you wait 3-4 years from Rosenbauer to get the truck. So it's like, I'm not saying that they shouldn't have a new truck. It's a matter of, we're so far behind the 8 ball on the roof, which is a 6-figure fix, and hooking up to the city sewer. We've got the sewer project that we should be looking at over here. Our budgets, you know, we're at 17% on our general fund versus what we should be at. And it's like, we have to look at what is the fiscal, you know, I mean, you guys have a lot of battles you got this much money to work with, and you've got a lot of things that were pushed down the road, it never addressed. No money was set aside, and now we're, you know,
mm-hmm.
I'm all for new equipment, I totally see the value. And then I look at, it'd be nice if we were in a better financial position at the
It
time,
would be nice, yes.
you know? And then at least if we can get that figured out for the next 5 years, whatever, then you can start piling money away, you know? It's just my thought on that whole shebang.
It is August 24th, it's 8:02 a.m. We are going to resume our budget meetings, and I would like everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today, we have Troy, Lee, and myself. Tim and Larry are on vacation, and we have Molly with us from our finance committee. Thank you for joining. And we have Michelle. Thank you for joining us. Our agenda today, I know it's not huge, but there's other things I'd like to try to get to on this too, just because otherwise we're going to be pushing well into September. I'll start with what we have on the agenda, and then we can kind of go from there and go down the budget list. Everybody got a paper copy. There's a blank spot, and so under 2024 for proposed, Mary asked us to write in dollar amounts in the cubes as we go through, so that we can give them to Michelle and they can get them entered for us to review at the September meeting to decide if we want to verify and send our budget to the county. So that is, we're not going to plug anything into the computer today, we're just going to do it by hand the old-fashioned way. To start off, planning and zoning, we did have an email that came from Elizabeth, just kind of giving us a snapshot of what's coming down the pipeline. And she doesn't have dollar amounts, but I did talk to her yesterday. We were chatting about what next year's gonna look like, working on ordinances. I'm assuming you all saw the amount that's costing us to publish our new ordinance that we passed for for the cannabis ordinance that we just passed. So $1,160 is what Chisago County Press is charging us to post that. For Fritz, we do need to post the entire ordinance in the paper. Morning, Kevin.
Hi.
So we need to start thinking about including that in the zoning and planning fund too, giving her some money, because we have plenty of ordinances that are gonna be worked on next year. And we have a few more coming down the pipeline. The beginning of the year, we're probably gonna be putting in play for other things, so she did tell me that we need to think about that. $1,100 is a lot, but if we have to post every single ordinance, it's gonna get really expensive, and then when we get the ordinances all back from Bolton and Mink, and she starts going through them, and planning starts looking at them, and changing them and updating them, those will need to be posted too. So, I asked if she plans on getting the entire ordinance book updated by the end of next year. She said there's no way that they would get them all done, but we need to keep in mind that we'll say we can get one chapter done, and we have to post that whole chapter in the paper. So, my response to her was $10,000 and do an account just for her to post things is probably even low, but we have to monitor it, and we have to, when we hit it, we can't, you know, and then we'll just do more next year.
Can't just post it on the website.
Not any type of major change or new ordinance needs to be posted in the paper, for it says, and it has to be every page, and that's what makes it so expensive. So, I mean, like our ordinance is, I don't remember, is it 12 pages? The one that we just did?
It's up there.
Yeah, and so all 12 pages or 15 or whatever it is in the paper coming out.
Can we negotiate some sort of deal with them at all, since we would be kind of like being a regular, you know, like, could we buy some ad space to say, this is how much we're gonna commit to mine this year, and they may give you a cost breakdown?
I think that's a possibility, just because the last time Lynn came in, he's like, hey, I talked them down from 18 to 15, just so you know, so
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay.
So I'm sure you could talk to them and say, hey, we're gonna be doing some major stuff this year, and you could probably get an idea from Elizabeth, like maybe how many pages of documents we have to post, and then they could say, all right, we're willing to do this, and I bet you they'd give you a cost breakdown.
Sure, we can do that.
Asking's free.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not gonna be just us, you gotta think about some of the stuff coming down, every city's gonna be doing this, so these papers are gonna be pumped.
Oh, okay, so
Right.
basically this is, a lot of this is cannabis.
Well, right now,
Okay.
but then with us not having updated ordinances.
Right.
We're gonna, when we update them, so this let us know, the cannabis one that we just passed brought to our attention that, oh, this is gonna be a lot more
Right.
expensive, so.
But she doesn't think she'll get to it this year, the full, right? all-
This year,
all ordinances.
she'll get them back, and then, so everything will be put together correctly from the, I'm guessing 2007 with all the amendments, but we're not gonna redo them this year.
Okay.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah, and
Zoning,
that's fine.
zoning and planning wouldn't even be able to get together
Yeah.
enough to do it, but she's saying like, let's take one chapter. So let's just say zoning and planning, January starts and they start working on it and they, recommend us and we do chapter one, you know, the first 6 months. Anything we change in those ordinances in chapter one needs to be posted.
Okay. And then,
And I mean,
yeah. I
without it
guess-
in front of me, I don't know how many pages each.
Right, I understand, but I guess I'm kind of thinking we go year by year, and if she doesn't think there's gonna be that much, I guess I'd like to bring down the 10,000.
Well, she-
Something,
That's low
yeah, but that's
For
what she
her
thinks she'll be
conversation.
spending in 2024,
for posting, for ad.
10,000.
Based on what we just spent. Now, if we get a deal worked out, that'll change everything.
Right.
Yeah, so I think that's great advice, I think we'll start there. You know, maybe
Just
we
we-
could put a figure in there.
I would say let's put 10 now, because this isn't approving anything, right?
That's
We're just
true.
gonna see the number and then when we get that information back, we can change it. And then we can also shoot high and lower it before we send it to the county. Because this isn't set in stone until. we
Right,
finalize.
right.
So it's just gonna give us a calculated what it's gonna look like and, you know, is the entire, are we at 20% increase for the entire town? Hopefully not, right? But I mean, we'll see that and then we can start.
Are you looking at page 3
Three.
under legal notices?
Yeah. And that, and we did talk, you know, that we just never had anything budgeted too much there, just because we haven't had somebody working hard on this till now, so. That would be 10, just for that. And I'm not saying, we were thinking out loud, like if we did 10
Right.
and they were all like this, that's $10,000. so
Right.
we'll just, so it's just a,
Well, I'm just gonna throw this out there, since we can change it later and we are gonna go into negotiation. How about if we put 5 in there now? And then see what happens?
okay.
Um, 'cause
And, so under legal notices, put 5.
that's just my suggestion, I mean, you guys,
No,
Why don't you split the difference?
right,
Okay. So instead of 10, we'll do 5 and.
oh, you mean 250, 255?
Yeah.
No.
He wants 10, you want 5, those 7.
75.
Oh, 7,500.
But we can't revisit, we can't.
Well, yeah, this isn't set in stone, this is
Right.
just so we can get
Okay.
calculations,
Yeah.
all we're doing right now. So, for any of this, for anything that we did.
Right.
So far, nothing is set in stone.
I have a question. There are things that we are, as a city, we were talking about doing like an increase in some of, like, there's licensing things that you guys are not doing that you should be doing. And then also like the lodging tax. So the state requires 3% from everybody who's doing short-term lodging, which there are people here that have not paid their lodging tax. The other thing is that, some cities do enact their own lodging tax, and that might be something you could look at, even if it was 1%. It's money to generate for the city if we're gonna have, additional police calls, stuff like that, whatever, or inspections that would, because I think it isn't just about looking at the budget we have, it's also about, is there ways that we can, since we're going to be adding city services, there should be ways that we can increase some money back in the city for the added services.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I don't know, I thought I saw, did you get copied from Mary on, the 3 fee schedules that I pulled? Okay, I'll send them to you, because they're supposed to go to the finance, so I'll forward it to you, but I went
Yeah,
out
they
and.
went, they went.
Did they go?
Because I
Okay.
commented to Mary, like, he asked me to go to council on your email, and she
Yeah.
goes, oh, we talked about finance, so it did,
Okay,
it did
yeah,
come to you.
I wanted to.
Did it?
Yeah.
You sent it to me, so.
Okay, so basically what I did for a fee schedule is, and we'll get there in a sec, but, we'll just go over there and check quick. I pulled Schaefer and Center City, and then I went out of our area and went to Lonsdale. It's a very similar community. I know Lonsdale, I used to live there, so I just popped them ahead, I'm like, let's see what they're doing. They're growing more than we are, so they're gonna have some different fees. Their fee schedule was really amazing, and it was done in 2022, so it was like, right, we have something to look at.
Yeah,
So what,
and even us,
my thought process, yeah, I stayed on the side of the river, I didn't know if anybody would have an issue for me going into Wisconsin, so. My thought process is we're gonna talk about that in a second, but we're gonna raise the fee schedule just in general, across the board, some percentage. And then finance committee, in that email, I want to sit down and we're gonna go line by line, so we can recommend to council what each, cause some of them, I did a quick look, and some of them we're perfect on. We're charging, actually, one of them, we're charging more on one of our licenses than, 2 of the cities are, but then there's some that were 50% less. And it's like, oh, well, we need to revisit that, so I think if we go line by line, we're gonna see that, and there's a lot of them, like you said, Molly, on some of these other cities that we don't even have. They're listed, Elizabeth sees them even in her computer, but there's no dollar amount on it, so. And we were talking about the lodging, like when I go to Duluth, my bill has, it goes right to the city, to go to Duluth, right? So I mean, that's definitely something we
And
need
not,
to do
and not
that.
all cities charge lodging tax, but I think the thing you gotta take into consideration is we have a lot of short-term rentals in proportion to how many single-family homes we have here. So I think it's something that should be,
Yep, no, I agree. Just sticking with the planning commission, for like training instruction, I know, we've talked about some of the other, committees or commissions. I think 100 is light. I think, and this is my personal opinion, 500 down the board for any type of training or things that a commission might wanna do is, I mean, a good starting point in my eyes, and if they don't use it, it carries over and it should show the carryover balance. Cause I know EDC had 1,000, they had 2,000 at one time, and now it shows 0. Nothing was budgeted for EDC last
but
year,
then we
but
don't
it's
even
still
know
sitting
what's
there.
been carried over, right?
Yeah,
Cause
yeah,
there could be money in there, but we don't know, it's not showing us on
Right.
this,
Yeah.
that there is a carryover
So we'll ask Mary to see if we can include a bracket
What's-
on this, like
maybe what's
carryover
in
and
the
what's
accounts,
available balance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm asking if you guys think 500 is okay if we put that under training and instruction.
And this is.
This is just the commission, since we were talking about the legal notices, I have page 3 open.
Okay, I mean, just that,
There is,
training and
there's
instruction,
like,
okay, I see.
yeah, with the HPC though, there's really no training to be had. Except that one thing that we have to go to for
Yeah,
the
2 people are going.
state, but
Yeah.
then none of them went, and the guy said they could do it online. So,
And I'm thinking of, well, Surge, we talked about that last time, and we went with 300, and that was okay with Joanne.
Yeah, I've had conversations with her, so she did reach out,
Uh-huh.
and asked if we could talk about that again, cause now she's starting to think that 300 isn't enough. And so I don't know if she called you too.
No,
so-
it wasn't, and I noticed it wasn't filled in yet, I mean, so.
Yeah, I don't think a lot got filled in, to be honest with you, so that's why we're gonna start plugging it in ourselves, so we can get it entered, so just, if you see
Okay.
that, just write it down, so we can turn it in.
Yes.
So
And
what
we'll
was the
sign it.
final answer for the planning commission? 10, 7?
So I put 7,500 for
Yep,
now.
7,500.
And training and instruction is going to be 5? correct?
Just to put in, plug in for now. I mean, so my thought process is if we do 500 for every commission down the board, and then when we get into our final, where we start pulling money away, at least we have money we can pull from that. If it's $100 each commission, we drop it by, just so that our overall percentage isn't crazy high for next year.
HPC's been at 4 past couple of years.
yeah, and I don't think we will use it
Yeah.
either.
Just leave that up for.
Well, not according to what the
I
mayor said.
mean, I would just,
Consulting.
okay, so we got an event coming up where 2 people from HBC are going down to Mankato.
Yep.
Are they?
And so I don't know what hotels are gonna cost down there. So if it's $200 for 2 people to go down there for a hotel room each, that's 400 right there, that's their budget. So I'm just trying to think.
Yeah,
And now, is it every year? No, it's not every year necessarily, we don't have to do it every year.
yeah, I'm not sure.
But, so things are going up. And we haven't kept up with inflation with our rates.
Right, right.
So, and I know whether we wanna believe inflation is as high as they say it is, that's debatable, but it's, there's some out there, so. So let's put 500 for now, and then we can adjust it to 300 if we feel we need to after we get it, just so we can get it calculated. and
Yes,
then-
and that'll be same for HPC, where else do we have it, all the commission?
I would say HBC, EDC,
Okay.
Parks and Rec, all commissions, let's just put at 500 for now, and then we can adjust and lower and take and move.
Anybody have page numbers for
Page 3, heritage and planning around.
yeah, any other ones?
Looking for EDC right now.
It's on page 7.
Thank you. That's been at 300 EDC.
Yeah, and I don't know, I mean, I guess I'm looking at it as just an overall bucket of 500, so like, when we do get a full EDC, if they wanna revisit that sign, downtown, the
Right,
signboard that never got done, or
Right.
whatever they come up with, it's just in a pool form, it doesn't necessarily need to be training. Just like one envelope for each commission, and they can use that envelope for training, they can use it for whatever they wanna do.
Okay. I'm good with that,
Yep.
okay? Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
And then if we can get these plugged in, so like Molly's requesting, balances, and, just run the numbers so we can see where we're at.
Yep.
Yeah, what's difficult for me is like, if I could see a running history of like, here's what we've got in the fund, and maybe like the last 5 years, I realized that, there was a lot of stuff just pushed down the road that will be coming up now that should have come up way before. But it'd be nice to be like, okay, we we do have some money in there, maybe we can lower some of these just to get by, because we do have money there already.
What I suggested a couple weeks ago, I think, and it is very helpful, and it doesn't take as much time as you think, but you go back to the audits and just what the balance was at the end, how much we actually spent in those areas. It's fairly easy to find. I know there's a lot of pages to the audit, but you get to the same page that has, for example, the fire department. This is what they spent last year. You know, it kind of helps to figure out which areas are coming way under budget and which are.
And she did share with me that page 6 where the fund expenses are, she did get them all entered, obviously, we know that, so, I mean, that's where it should show, like, this year, how much we spent, and only some of it's on there, so. One other thing too, now this would be just for, while we're still on planning and zoning, kind of all over the place, but planning and zoning, we need, so Elizabeth would like some type of fund or, you know, balance provided for next year if she needs to use Bolton Inc. for whatever reason, a go-to, you know. And so we need to figure out, because this is gonna be new budgeting. We spent a lot of money in Bolton Inc. this year because we didn't have Elizabeth, but she still wants that ability to have some money to go to them.
Okay, and you want to put this under planning commission and not under
No,
administration?
this one would be, well, I wanna separate that, I mean, it's under administration right now, but like, I wanna separate zoning and planning separated, so we can watch and see how much zoning and planning on its own spends next year.
Under administration?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, because I think what you're looking for then is contracted services.
Yeah.
Probably?
But I wanna separate it just so we can watch that and see how much, if that makes sense.
There is the engineering services.
Yep, that would be different, I mean,
That's
engineering, we still need to do, because that would be,
They can do it.
but there's again another fee that we need to start passing on to any projects or any developers that come to our town, they need to cover that. And I know Elizabeth will be all over that, she's not gonna,
She's really good.
take that, but, so like under administration, zoning and planning, I don't know how we would word it.
Well, yeah, planning and zoning is fine.
Okay.
This is just a suggestion, it looks like,
Which,
I'm not trying to follow in the code numbers here. Last one was refunds and reimbursement, 810. Office supplies, 200, so it looks like it's 41400.
Yep.
We can kind of do whatever we want. If we want it moved up, just a suggestion, 41400, code 140, that puts it under employer paid life insurance above workers' comp.
Yep,
Does that make sense? Are you following that?
yep,
Okay,
right in the middle,
right.
between 131 and 150.
So it'd be 41,400, 140. And now, do you want a subdivision under that for contracted services? So then it'd be 41,400, 141, contracted services, planning and zoning.
I would say that way we can monitor and just see.
So 41,400, 140, contracted services, zoning and,
141 under one, so a sub one under 140, 141.
oh,
So 140 would be planning and zoning, and then 141 would be contracted services.
oh, okay.
And you might have to do P and Z contracted services or something just to identify it, but.
So we spent just on them putting the ordinances together, we know we spent 7,500. What do you think? I guess this one I would have no clue because this year's an odd year, so I can't base everything that we spent with Bolton Inc. on a total and say, we're gonna need to put that in there because we're not. We have somebody full-time now.
Well, if she's doing the majority of the work, this is really identifying them, I mean, maybe
she
she
just wants
could give
them as
you.
backup.
Just a backup, and then like if planning, all of a sudden, if we get like blasted with 4 things at once, you know, we could direct them to help her get them all
Well,
done
she's-
for planning and commission.
I know who she used to work with, and so like, she's really, really good. Like, she's gonna be really, really good, and she's,
Yep.
for the people she used to work with, she's got some really good resources if she needs them. But can you talk to Bolton and Mink and see if they give you just a set price to review?
It's an hourly, so $350 an hour is basically what they charge, depending on who you're talking to, right? So 200 to 350.
Right.
Okay, I have a suggestion. Why don't we switch that to zoning, instead of calling it planning and zoning, to separate it out from the commission?
Okay,
Um,
so 141 just zoning?
yeah, well, actually even 140 would be zoning.
Okay.
141 would be contracted services for
Okay.
zoning. And then do you want to move the publishing up to the administration in that case and do
I suppose we should,
zoning
because
publishing?
the planning commission, their postings are so
Right,
small.
right.
So the big ones should go under there.
So now we've got a 41, 400, 142
Yep.
would be zoning publishing.
And you said to put 100,000 down, right? I'm just kidding.
Doesn't think I'm awake apparently.
Split the difference.
So then we'll move that 7,500 up
Yep.
under administration.
And I wrote that right here too.
Okay, good.
Thank you. And then, so under 141, the contracted zoning services, what do we want to plug in to see?
Oh. But he's looking at me.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, we were
what
throwing
do we-
numbers around yesterday, and it was like, if we did total, it's over 10. Just the ordinance book that they're putting
Yeah.
back together was 7,500.
But on the other hand,
Five
Elizabeth.
grand just sitting there in case she needs to use them, and then.
Yeah, that might be okay. I mean, Elizabeth, like Molly says, Elizabeth's getting her feet wet. I mean, she really knows what's going on, and
Yeah.
she's getting a grasp of things, so. And I don't suspect we're gonna use them unless we absolutely have to.
But I will say, she's got a mess of,
Yeah, she does.
the way they've done it over the years is
Yeah,
not how
right,
they're supposed to do
right,
it. So she'll have to do a lot of
And-
reworking a lot of
Yeah.
stuff. but-
And if we can help her bring that up to speed a little faster with Bolton and Mink, I think that's, that's a good thing. So
And I'll be meeting with her too.
okay.
Should we just plug 5 for
Five.
now and just see what, and then we
I'm
can
good with
adjust in
that.
September? Okay.
And then we can do like a zoning contracted services fundraiser when we get more of them.
Was that $5?
Where am I filling that in here?
I wrote it down separate, so under
Okay, I'm putting it in my
145.
notes, okay.
Yep.
Yep. So, I'm sorry, what do we have for zoning? So that would just be, okay.
Yeah, that was just
What,
that part. Other than that, she doesn't really know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
she hasn't been doing this, we don't know what other expenses she's gonna incur. I mean, if I can't, I don't have a crystal ball.
yeah,
So-
I'm wondering,
But we're going back to the fee schedule, where some of the stuff that she's working at, we need to increase or add fees. If we get a developer out in the industrial park, we should not be, anything shouldn't be coming out of her bucket.
right,
She
well,
should be putting money in the bucket for her to work with them.
yeah, and now I'm starting to wonder about 140, what is zoning there for then? If basically what we have is her payroll. I mean, does that make sense? Why, I mean, we can have zoning contracted services and zoning publishing, but why do we have the title, the zoning one at all? If we're gonna narrow it down,
Why have 140 zoning and then?
Correct.
So just get rid of 140 and just have 141 and 142?
yes, or,
Because her wages will go under 100.
or what?
Her, oh, sorry.
Start at 140 contracting services and then 141 is zoning publishing.
Unless you want it to be
Yeah.
just her wages and salaries separated out, so you know what the zoning department is costing. Cause that helps figure out your fees and it also helps figure out, like, if she's gotta
Yeah.
work with somebody to do a development.
Right,
then-
right. So 140 is now zoning salaries.
Yeah.
141 will be zoning contracted services, and 142 will be zoning publishing. And I think the nice thing about this is we're putting an emphasis and drawing attention to the challenges we're really facing right now,
Right.
and focusing on how much that's gonna cost the city.
Yep. Segueing into administration and salaries, I wanna postpone, like, I'm gonna tell you where I'm at with it, but I wanna do some more digging into it before we decide, because the COLA, cost of living raise, there's a lot of places you can go, and they all have their recommendations, the government, federal, whatever. Google even has their own, you know, unfortunately. But without Tim here, I know he came up with some formula for public works for their raise, but if we don't mirror that and do it the same for, you know, if it's a percentage, if we're gonna base it on a percentage, what I found all leads to 4.175% is what we should raise, just based on cost of living. And they take into consideration the inflation rate, it's all in there, if you Google it, it'll come up, and then I just did a bunch of work, but that's more than what the outside gentlemen we're gonna get. And so I don't wanna, we need to do it uniform, and it should be, it's different for me, cause I'm in private, right, and so my
Right.
raise is based on what cost of living is. If I get a raise, it's based on my busted my butt and got it, but that's not the world we live in, so it's totally different, and I don't wanna start a problem.
Yeah.
So I wanna wait so we can have all of us here to discuss it.
Right.
And,
Yeah, I mean, that's what we have the review process for, and that's why we have an open door policy for all of our employees, so.
but that's just based on performance.
Right.
If we give a cost of living, if a raise, it has to go across the whole board, even if we hire somebody tomorrow, they get it next year.
Yeah.
And so that's how it is set up. I would agree or disagree, it's just what we
Yeah.
have. So I wanna make sure that we do the same thing for public works as we do for our administration on the inside when it comes to the cost of living increase. You know, do we wanna do a percentage? Do we wanna do just, you know, when I plugged in the numbers, it came up with $1.50 is what was like splitting the difference. You know, not maxing the 8.6% inflation rate, you can't do that. So then I started plugging, you know, instead of percentages, it was like $1.52 is what 4.175% increase was, I thought. So $1.50 is what I came up with, and that would be for everybody. But I don't wanna make those decisions with all of us not looking at it and doing some more research, I just don't. I mean, and I know if we plug that in, it doesn't matter or anything, but I'm not comfortable with it, is what I'm saying. So I kinda wanted to move that to the next meeting, you know, for us to finally, you know, come up with an idea. If that makes sense.
Sounds good.
So if you're okay with that, I just moved and I have my cheat sheet here. The fee, or the administrative wages, let's just put that till next Thursday and have more of a discussion. That'll give me some time to do some more digging, but there's so much information out on this that you can get sucked into rabbit holes either way. Parks, sorry.
Go ahead, so we're moving what to next?
Administrative / wages, I wanna move to the 31st.
All right.
Cause I know Tim was doing a cost of living raise, but then he also had a performance, or not a performance, but a percentage worked in there, so that like mid-year we can do a review, and if things are going well, he can get more. And so, I don't know what way we're gonna go, but we need to figure it out uniformly across both departments.
Do you think that it's a good idea to, with the wages and salaries, to split that into the different positions? Because if you have a position where they're costing more money, like with using Goldman Bank or Ando or whatever, I mean, like, shouldn't that be a way of kind of discerning that versus just having them all clumped in one spot?
Good question, I don't know if that's where I was running into roadblocks, because I kept on finding everything saying that if you do a cost of living, it doesn't matter, everybody gets it.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm
Okay.
saying when it comes to like job reviews and raises and all that, you know, you'd have them broken out into like, okay, the city clerk here, we've got this, but we've also got these other expenses, and if that particular part of the city is running high, then that would, you know, like, everybody's kind of responsible for their department, which
Sure.
means if your department is costing us too much money, why would we be giving you a raise?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
I'm guessing we can incorporate something like that into the review, I wouldn't see why you can't.
Right,
Yeah. So for any type of performance evaluation, compensation raise, yeah,
yeah.
I guess that one, I guess I just thought of, I mean, I agree, I would assume that would be built in on, I guess I shouldn't assume
Right.
anything. But the COLA one was just,
Right,
it's,
the
I'm just
COLA one
uncomfortable
is
with that,
COLA.
because if we just max what they recommend to give, I wanna do some more digging, cause I don't
Yeah.
know a city our size what the cap would be. Cause eventually, if you do that every year, you're gonna get to a point where,
Right?
Yeah, we
Exactly.
can't
Or a small
afford to have
town, right.
people, right?
so, and it's all of our money that we gotta figure out how to do.
Yeah.
So. The fee schedule, I'll resend that to you, Molly. Kevin, I don't know if were you here already when I was kind of brought up the fee schedule quick? I found 3 different cities, that we're gonna compare our fee schedule to. Finance team is going to, go line by line after we get the budgeting done, but we still need to do some type of increase. Last week, we did a vote to increase the water by 10%. So with the rest of the fee schedule, when I just did a quick look at the 3 that I pulled, I came up with, you know, some were 50% increase just to match what they have, but then some were over, you know. And obviously, we can't do a 50% increase across the board without doing a good look at it all.
Mhm.
So I guess some of it I looked at, like some of it as a percentage wise, if we just do like 10% raise across the board, that at least gets us a little, and it's not sticker shock, and then we can do, you know, first quarter of next year, we can dial in everything and add things and bring it to council. I like round numbers, so I went to 10, some of the stuff was leading to like 7.6.
Right.
You know, if I added the 3 up and divided it, was like, okay, this is, so, for accounting sakes, I mean, to be honest with you, 10% isn't gonna do a lot for us on it, but it is a
Right.
start. You know, like we talked about, the water bill, it's gonna be probably 3 years in a row where we're gonna have to do increases there to get our funds back up. Well, some of these fees, we
But
need to really.
Hopefully that well fee is going away in the next couple of years, wasn't it just for 10 years?
Yeah, yeah. So, with that 10% increase though, I don't wanna include that 10 on top of the water or sewer. So excluding the fee schedule, those 2 things. I don't want another 10%, if that makes sense. We don't need to raise.
Right.
You're talking
Right,
about
right,
well,
right.
you know,
Yeah.
increase, right?
Yep, so just leave that section out of our
Yeah.
fee schedule increase, but the rest, everything else goes up 10% is my recommendation.
Okay, so I'm looking at a couple things, our bond, that's that bond amount.
What page are you on?
I'm on the fee schedule, or current fee schedule, I have 2022 is the most current copy for Taylor's
Yep.
Falls, is that correct?
Yep. It would, I mean, it hasn't been adjusted, but yeah.
Right,
It's
right,
just a
so
new
I'm
date.
just kind of going.
23.
Yeah, I suppose this one would be because we had to change the sheriff's fee. If you're on the website, it's on there too.
Okay. I'm looking at hotel motel license, 10% from 150, couple things.
Yeah, it's not gonna be done, that's, you know, I
Yeah,
know,
just-
it just,
okay.
I guess I'm looking at it as we're gonna do something right now, just to include it in the budget, and then in January, we start sitting
Sure.
down and we go line by
I think the
line.
hotel one though, the hotel, motel, SDRs, that should be based on number of units.
Yep,
So if they're gonna get a license and they've got 4 units, it's on a per unit basis. And if they've got more units, then it would be on a per unit basis. Shouldn't be just a flat fee.
yeah, but we have, zoning will have to start figuring out who's where and how many units are at, but.
Yeah.
So, and I know she knows that, and it's on our radar, it's just.
Mhm.
And if you think we need to go more than 10 or less, I'm open. I just was,
Yeah, I
did
don't-
quick little specs
Yeah.
of things that they mirrored ours and were different, and I thought, wow, this is like literally 8.2 and one was 7.6. I'm like, I'm not gonna do all that, let's just go 10.
Right. No,
We could go 30, I don't, I mean, I
It's
think it's
we
gonna
have
go
to
up.
start somewhere.
It's
And-
just, we're throwing our first start.
Right, right.
Included in the budget, and then we'll do a more diligent plan of line by line.
Yeah, no, I.
Because literally, if you compare these three to ours, and I just sent it to you, some of it were high compared to them, a couple of them. I mean, but then there's stuff that we don't even have listed. I'm not saying that we need to fee everybody to death, that's not what I want to do,
Right.
but.
Well, it's just providing city
Yeah.
services.
And we're
Really only
just
affects
buying
the people
times.
that need that service.
And then following up on collecting these fees, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be beneficial as well, if it hasn't been done in the past. Just a side note, the explosive license will now go up $50. And the fireworks.
They got the fees for
Oh, okay.
sewer, Schaefer, Harris, and North Branch, and what they're charging.
So it's $10 and something, so Harris for their sewer fee is $10.79 per 1,000 gallons.
Plus,
Oh, so they add all that together?
Yeah.
Plus 36.34, okay.
Yep.
So the base is 36.34
Yep.
at Harris, and then $10.79 per 1,000 gallons. Schaefer is $103.26, that's a minimum up to 10,000, and then
Yeah.
$5.25 per 1,000 after that,
you know,
up to 15. North Branch is $8.80 per 10,000 gallons, and a base of $14.50. And that's just for the sewer.
yep, that's just for the sewer.
What is ours currently at? I don't know.
Well, ours is, it's a 1736 base, and then, $3.03 per 1,000 gallons. So that's, yeah, we were thinking, talking to Kevin, we were thinking, well, you gotta go, was it 10% or whatever?
So 10%, we did 10% on the water, so
Yep.
another 10% on the sewer.
Right, that's what we were thinking.
So water and
So
sewer.
we're still lower than a bunch of the cities around, so.
Okay. So let's put in 10%, Michelle, raise on sewer too, not just the water. All right, are you okay with that, Troy?
Yes, no, it's good, I'm glad we're, taking that first step.
Do we
It's
want
just
to do
like that.
10% on the fees for now, and then start January, are we okay with that 10%, or do you guys want to lower it, or?
I don't, isn't there something where you can't go more than 10%?
On the fee schedule, I'm not sure on that.
But on the sewer,
Yeah,
you know,
I think.
without
certain levels-
some, without a hearing or something. I'm not totally sure on that.
Okay.
But 10% is like the max without something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, as far as the fee schedule, that's a yes for me, 10%
Okay.
across the board.
And just for sake, since we're being videotaped, this is just preliminary budget. We haven't
Right,
approved
right,
anything
right.
yet. So we'll get it all plugged in and then we can readjust if needed. Okay, so on the posting, we have planning and zoning, we did, fee schedule. Administrative wages, we moved to the 31st. Parks and Rec, I thought Larry said he wanted to put that to the 31st, but it's still on here, so, I know he was working with you, he wanted to know how much to finish Cherry Hill. That was the first week, when we were kind of branching stuff out, and I know that's a separate fund. But he wanted to make sure that we put enough money to finish the flower, and clean up whatever you need. And then as far as Parks and Rec, I think we just stick with besides the Cherry Hill Park, and just the 500 under Parks and Rec for now. And adjust if we need to.
Yeah, and just a question on that, I know that there's a fund from the Friends funds of Cherry Hill Park.
Yeah.
That were, do that, and the last that I knew, there was 3,000 something in that fund. And I don't know.
I could find it in here. I did look at it yesterday.
On the audit report, there was that extra column that
Yeah.
I
That
have
was it.
Cherry Hill Park
They didn't
improvement.
say that?
Yeah, I think that's,
We don't know.
and so there was a, well, I don't know if that one is. No. I think this is what the city put just for Cherry Hill Park back in 2022. We put $1,120 aside. But there is another fund, like Kevin said, that's at Friends of Cherry Hill. And I even questioned it when I was up here, Michelle, and Mary was like, what is this
Yeah,
fund sitting here for?
Yeah,
We
we've
don't
got-
get it, so.
we've got two, and here's the problem, the numbering. Yeah, so we've got no 403. So 402, 3,100, and 3623 is under Cherry Hill Park improvements, and there's a $3,900 figure up there in the title. And then we've also got 402, 45, 200, 403, and that is specifically for Cherry Hill Park improvements. And that's where the 1120 that the mayor mentioned comes under 2022. I think that's what you're talking about.
Yep.
This is page 9.
Page 9, yeah.
So, we gotta get that cleaned up, right?
Yeah, so we can see both.
Right, yeah.
Can you,
Gotta merge, find
can you
out.
put them together? I don't know. mean,
I don't, I don't see a problem with that. They both say the same thing.
Yeah, and they're going to the same location.
We've got general property taxes, and there's nothing budgeted for that. And then we've got contributions and donations. 1,500 was the actual to date in 2022, assuming that's correct.
Why does it say 39?
That's the balance.
Right.
There's balances on some of them. So 3,900 is your current balance with just the,
But not with
and,
the friends.
and that doesn't include the 1,120.
Right.
So you have $4,120. Right? Okay.
That would be
You
a-
have $5,120. And it's separated.
That would be,
Is that where,
yeah.
I mean, are we off or?
No, I don't.
I guess I'd like just to request that staff have that cleaned up. You know, we get by our next meeting, so we can look at at least one line item, one heading, and then find out what we actually have in there.
Because we really, if it's just for that part, I'd want to make it separate.
Right.
So
There might be a
Should be
reason.
together in just a couple lines.
yeah,
Do you, I mean, more, how much do you think we should budget for next
Well-
year, or? I think Larry said 600, if it wasn't mistaken. I thought he brought up, like, we need another $600 to finish for buying flowers.
Last year, they had asked me for a budget for flowers, which I submitted in August of 2022.
Okay.
But then it was never acted upon or never brought up, and it was never allocated funds for this year, so this year we weren't able to purchase anything.
Okay.
One of the things is that places that I order plants from, their catalog for the coming year opens on January 1st, it's online. And then many of the varieties sell out on January 1st or January 2nd. So like I have been to look and see, I have put together a list this year also. But part of it is until I get the funds to even order, I can pick up, I want this one, this one, and this one. But when I go to order, they may be gone. So it would be really helpful, knowing the budget as early in the year as possible. And when I order in January, the plants are not dug and shipped until September or August. So it's a delay in ordering versus getting. And I can share some things, some ideas of what I would like to do
Do you remember what the total was that you submitted for 2022?
I remember there were two orders, and it seemed like one was 900 some, I have it, I can
That's
get
fine,
it
but just
for you. And then there was a second one that was a lesser amount of another $300 or $400 from another company. And I had even asked if I could just do the one for the 900 that would not get council approval since the project is already approved by Park and Rec and things like that, but no action was taken on it.
So I guess I would suggest from that information, we at least plug in 13
Yeah.
right now
Yep.
for 2024.
Absolutely. Under Cherry Hill Park.
Once we get that figured out.
And that was to complete the existing garden, and then I've also been in communication with Kevin from Public Works on the original design of Cherry Hill Park. Had planted berms that were separate from where the fence is. There was nothing on the fence. And so I would really like to recover those berms sort of one at a time or whatever as funds allow. But for doing that, even to start this year with putting black plastic over the berms to kill all of the wet grass and things like that. And I was hoping to get some jump trees from there. And then I would like to envision, getting a flowering tree that would bloom at a day time of year, so there was always something moving there. And then another expense that hasn't been budgeted for would be to supplement, like primarily the peonies are blooming in May and June. So I've been planting other things that will carry the color through the season. But so to have some funds for planting some annual flowers, and again, with it being at Cherry Hill at a park, they need to be very deer resistant because of the deer probably materials walls or it's not money wisely spent.
Right.
So that would be an annual budget just to get some annual plants that would carry the color through the season.
Yeah, and if you have more information, Kevin, on that, let us know.
Yeah.
I think if we start with, first of all, we're gonna clean up that fund, right? And then.
Well, and if I can have access to the fund, has been the problem, is that I've submitted budgets but haven't had access to it.
Right.
So thank you.
If the rest of the council's in agreement, that we start with 1,300 for that. Once we get it cleaned up. Yeah, go ahead.
Unless you're retroactive and giving the 1,300 from the previous year and something from this year.
Well, yeah, I think we should find out what the current
Well,
balance is.
in 2022, the city gave $1,120. City. If I'm reading it right. That's the way it looks to me.
That
So,
they paid back.
yeah, it should be sitting there for you to use. There should be $1,120 from this year's.
Oh.
And then that balance of $3,900 from the donations. But from the city, I mean, it looks like there's $1,120 this year that hasn't been used.
Well,
So you
yeah.
just need access to it so you can use it.
But here's the problem, I think, with that spreadsheet is that's actually under actual to date, 2022, which would tell me that's actually what was spent. Right? If the title of that field is correct, that's.
So they
that's
spent
to reflect-
1,120 and they didn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying, I think,
The beginning and ending cash balance, it shows 1691. And it's still got 1691.
that's true, right?
So,
Let's get it cleaned up and we'll
Yeah.
give you a better answer
Yeah.
next meeting,
Yeah.
just so we know exactly how much we have in there, because there's two numbers contradicting each other.
Yeah.
There's money in there, but we just don't know which.
Yeah.
Or it could be both.
Right, thank you for, I mean, this is stuff we've got to get figured out, cleaned up. Then there's also a park improvements fund underneath that, so, that's a completely separate.
And the
separate
40,
fund.
the 403 line, is that where the 1,300 should be added? Because that's from the city, is the way I'm looking at it. The way I'm looking at it is the top one, the 31,
Okay.
is the donations, the Friends of Cherry Hill is what I'm thinking.
Oh,
The top,
okay.
that 3,900, and then the city would be the 403. That's the way I was reading it.
Oh, I see, okay. Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then, like you said, right down below that, yeah. Got park improvements.
Oh, okay, that's what you're talking about, okay. That's general for all parks, right, okay.
That's,
Yeah.
yeah, I understand.
So, they budgeted $12,200 last year.
So, and if actual date is 245, then that should be a $45.91 over budget, if
Yep.
that's correct.
And then, but then, I don't understand the final budget.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
So they put 13,700 for this year.
Right.
And we still have 7,791 left.
As of June 30th. So what I was doing, unless we go to the audit again, go to the 2022 audit, and find this line item, and find out exactly what was spent in
Right.
2022. You can guess, you can estimate, you can multiply the 7,791 by 2 to take a shot at, what we're gonna spend in 2023. But the best thing is to go back to the audit and find this line item and see what we actually spent in 2022, and then you'll get an idea of,
I was comparing that yesterday from Mary. Those numbers are plugged in from that.
oh, yeah, okay. Even the 791, or that's,
That I'm not sure, I was
Right.
simply looking at that.
okay, good. So then we know that the actual to date for 2022 was 12,245,
Okay.
right? Okay.
and then if you go to the next page, and it shows an actual ending cash balance to date, $12,008.
Okay. Page 10.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that leads me to believe that 12,200 for park improvements is in the ballpark for 2024.
So they budgeted 13,700. Did they have something going on that they increased it for this year and then dropped it?
Yeah, that's the problem. I don't know what actually, I guess I don't know what actually happened in 2023 or where we're actually at.
Well, I mean, through June, it says we spent 7,700.
Right.
Well, we'll just say it's 7,800. So, like you said, if we double that.
7,800 though is just for taxes, then you're gonna need really 15,582 for this year.
Yeah,
Not,
not the
and
13.
you're gonna be
Yeah.
short this
Right.
year because they only budgeted 13,700, so
That's what I was looking
you
at.
guys are in the hole $1,882 for 2023. So you had to bring that budget number up to like almost 16,000.
Yeah, 15,582. So
And then
say-
if you're gonna be short,
Yeah.
then do you have to make that up in the 2024 budget then?
So I add another 1,400 to that.
Yeah.
So 16,982, so 17. So next year we should have 17.
Yeah, and now I'm starting to
Yeah,
think
you're
some other
gonna-
things to think about. This 6/30/2023 figure was taken June 30th, right? So how many more, your expenditures for parks during the winter, how much do they really increase?
You'd
Do
have
we
to
know?
get at a
I
minimum
mean, plowing.
17,464 for 2024.
So just something to keep in mind. I mean, I'm fine with 15 if we want to do that, just so we can plug something in there so we can run some numbers, but.
Well, you don't you gotta make up for the shortfall for 2023?
Yeah, so we're
Right.
So you gotta be at 17,464 to be, for 2024 to make up for the shortfall for 23 and for the increases in 2023.
So let's, for now, plug in 17,500 for us to calculate.
And that's really just for the taxes, it's not
Yeah.
for.
No, that doesn't help
anything else.
building.
So if we carry, well, here we go, if we carry all these numbers over, it looks like insurance was a big expense, bathroom. That was actual to date 2022. So if we're going to increase that, where do we do it at?
Well, so the taxes one is separate than what the one below is. So 17,500 is just for us to clean that up. And then
Okay.
below would be a separate fund.
Oh, yeah, I guess I was assuming these are,
So
that
we-
total was from.
So 15,000 is what they have for park improvements to pay for insurance, repairs, bathrooms, if you look right over to the right of it.
Okay.
So that's what's in the account. But they're over, like you said, they're over on $810, we're over on bathrooms. And but what I guess I'm looking at that is, so what's bathroom? Is it because we had damage done to some of the porta potties, or is this because our supplies, toilet paper and stuff have went up in use? It's not separated, because under operating supplies, it's not touched.
Well-
It's still sitting at 500. So I don't know why we're over 810 under bathroom. It doesn't tell me.
Yeah.
Right.
I guess, let's plug it in for now, when we say 17.5, and then, I hate to tell you, but there's another one after that, Heritage Park Improvements, completely separate fund.
Well, so park improvements, do we wanna keep it at 15,000 for park improvements? Cause if we put 17.5, that's just for taxes for park improvements.
Well, they budgeted 0 for 2023 for
Yeah.
the taxes on Heritage Park.
Yeah. So,
And then they're only saying it was $83.
so do the 17.5 trade and then just,
Let's
Leave.
clean it up.
Yeah,
Yeah, let's
let's see
find
where
out
we're
what's
at.
in there.
okay. You can do that. Just,
Where are we thinking?
the 17.5 would be under 31,000, 404, park improvements, general property tax, yeah. 17.5.
And apparently that excludes Heritage Park,
Yeah.
right?
That's what it looks like to me.
What it looks like.
There's nothing budgeted, but we have an expense of $83 so far this year. I don't understand that, why they wouldn't be included. Should we postpone this and try to get some answers on Heritage Park?
That would,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel comfortable doing that.
So we got the Cherry Park one to consolidate, clean up, and now we've got park improvements.
And Heritage Park.
And Heritage Park, yeah, and why is it separate? I mean, there's a $10,000. They budgeted 10,000 for 2022, spent 10,377, and now actual for June 30th is $83, so.
With no money set aside for the park. And they didn't do it.
But there's-
for-
but
they didn't
there's
do it for
still a
taxes or
balance.
improvements.
There's still a cash balance though of 39,000.
Yeah. Is that total parks? Or is that just Heritage?
I think that's just Heritage. That looks to me.
Yeah, because they put 10,000, 10,000, 10,000.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Let's get clarification. Let's see, what was on our list? Community center would be next.
Okay, I give, what page?
8?
Thank you, Michelle. So it seems like 2,000 every year
There's another one that's split.
Yep.
Oh, property taxes.
The ones, yeah, okay, and then one's for maintenance, or, now I know we have some ceiling tiles that need to be fixed. Kevin did say that he is not sure a couple of them when he took down, they look like they have water damage, so we might need some roof repair done, or a beam, maybe even roof replaced, he said he wasn't sure, for the community center.
Well, we did get a grant for it before, and then they didn't do anything with it, and had to give the money back, but they got like $70,000, $80,000. I don't know why we wouldn't have Janice see if she could do another
Yeah.
grant.
And then again, we should note the balance right now.
Yep, 10,539.15, so, I mean, we have money there, do we wanna just continue with $2,000? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, until we see if we can get grants, do more investigation
So-
on, cause the roof tiles are not gonna cost that much to replace.
So is there 18,000 in a separate fund
Yeah,
there too? You know, if you look at community center, it says center fund, 18,000.
Okay, where is that?
It's
Right
right
under
on the,
community
You know what I
center
think
fund.
that is? I think that's,
Oh, yeah.
that's all the property tax added together plus the other one, so that's both
Oh,
funds
okay.
added together.
Alright, Kim, maybe you guys have to get this one fixed too.
yeah, that's.
And there might be a rhyme or reason why taxes are separate from every fund, I don't know, I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think we can rely, it's almost like Cherry Park and the 3,900, I don't think we can rely on that. Yeah, it's almost like a notation that was put into the title for
Right.
some reason, it doesn't, it's not helpful at this point. But it would be nice to find out if we actually do have 10,539 in the community center fund.
Fund balance.
In that case, I mean, I guess we could default to 2,000 because that's what we've done in the past, but we shouldn't, you know, I wouldn't be concerned about, if that's our balance, I wouldn't be concerned about, you know, 1,000 even or something, but,
Yeah.
and if we don't spend it, that's great.
Well, we cleared it down.
Need to.
We cleared it down stuff.
Yeah, right. If that fund balance is correct, then.
They were supposed to pull all those old Christmas lights down and clean it up, and so far, just community members have gone down and
And going from the history, it looks like this could actually be the correct balance for the community center fund, from what's happened in the past. Money that's come in, not been spent.
So we wanna plug in two for now, just as a holder, and then we'll
Sure.
do a true balance. I put down, ask, or get fund balance. Or, you know, clarify, is it 18 or 10.5?
Yep, that's
Okay.
good with me.
At least we just. can plug
Right,
it.
at least we've got something there.
Can you put that in at 3,100 or the 49?
Both, just do the
41?
two, under 3,100. See, what I think it is that 2,000 under 3,100 goes down below, and it shows how we split that 2,000. We took 1,000 of it to repairs and maintenance and then capital improvements, so. So just put it up above, and then that should reflect down below, 1,000 for each, if that's how we wanna keep on doing it.
Yeah, except for the problem is that they've got, well, they've got 2,000 and the taxes were 2,031.
Right.
And then the way this looks, it's like you're using the money twice, because then they got another 1,000 for maintenance, 1,000 for capital improvements. So really, they're using 4,000.
4,000, right.
Because the 2,000 is just taxes.
But is that the taxes that we receive and take that money and spread it out? That's what I'm
Yeah.
starting to look at it and go,
Right,
okay,
right.
so out of our bucket of money we get from all taxes, we took 2,000 from our tax bucket.
I got you.
Put it in the community center and split it 1,000.
Well,
I mean, I'm starting,
so when we're budgeting money to pay property taxes, we're really getting that money? because you have us paying property
Yeah.
taxes for.
So all the property taxes
Parks.
that come in, yes, that goes into that bucket, and then they just decide to
Right,
do
but I
those.
mean, are we paying the property taxes and then getting the money back?
If you're using
Because
the
if you look
community
at,
center.
but if you look at the, but if you look at the park, right?
Yeah.
And you're saying we gotta pay $17,500 in taxes, are we getting that money?
If
Or
you're
are we
using, I
paying
guess
it
if
and
parks
then
are
paying it
clean
right
and you're
back?
using it, I.
That's what I'm saying, like, are we paying property taxes or are we not paying property taxes? Cause it looks like the city pays property taxes on the parks and
Yeah.
the community center. We don't get that money back, do we? Or does that go to the county? Otherwise,
I guess what I'm looking
why
at-
would we pay property taxes and get it right back? Why wouldn't we just not pay any taxes on it?
Yeah, we'll have to clarify that.
I'm wondering.
Because I can read it either way.
I'm wondering if when the money comes back from the county for the property taxes, 2,000 goes in.
So we're paying 2,000 to get 2,000?
No. Is that the percentage of how the property taxes are spent, so that we're not paying that 2,000?
Yeah, that's why that's
Of
why I
the
was.
property tax money that is available to the cities, $2,000 is designated for a spending account for the community center? Is that, am I looking at that right, or is that?
That's how I was looking at it.
Well,
I mean,
right,
without
except for that, we
clarification.
just went through the parks and we said, well, geez, we're paying more property
Yeah,
taxes
so
than
we
we
raised it
had
there.
budgeted.
So all this numbers we're plugging in at the end, when we get it back, it's gonna say, our levy's going up 20. I'm just using 20% because it's stuck in my head right now, but all this will go in and then we'll get our final levy that we send to the county. And it could be, it'll show us a percentage increase. And then that's when we go back and go, whoa, we're too high on this, or, you know. So I don't,
Right.
that's 17.5 under, I think you're right on 17.5, because we are losing money if we don't go to that. But I think that total is what would go into the levy to the taxpayers. So we raise taxes right there.
Well-
If I think, yeah, if that's correct.
They under budgeted is what it is.
Yeah.
It isn't so much
Yeah.
raising taxes as
Catching.
somebody didn't budget for it last year, so.
Catching up.
So we'll put the 2,000 in for the community center for now, and then we'll ask about the fund balance.
Right.
And if we need to adjust, we'll adjust.
And I will look at the audit for that to find out what actually, if we can get a balance in 2022.
Okay. That is what we had on the, schedule. I did see, Troy, did you have anything that you wanted to?
Yeah, I do, I just wanna follow up, cause I did hear back from Jake. The fire department actually looks good, he does want us to carry forward the numbers. He did ask about a dedicated fund, however. And I haven't heard back from him, but it does look like we have, he was asking about a dedicated fuel fund, and currently, for the past couple of years, we've had motor fuels, we've had a balance of $2,000. I'm on page
Was it 4?
Yeah,
page 4, yes. So we do have a motor fuels, fund in there, we've had a balance of $2,000. It looks like they were, actual to date in 2022 was $3,342, so I don't know if this is the dedicated fund he was referring to or not, but, we do actually have a fund for motor fuels. He didn't suggest anything other than carrying forward the 2023 numbers for it. So that's the only loose end really to tie up, I guess, as far as the fire department goes, and I'll hear back from him before the next meeting. Is that amount enough? Everything else,
Well, it looks like it went up in 2022, and then they stayed at 2,000, so why would?
right.
I mean, gas is more expensive than
Right,
it was.
Yeah.
They're gonna use more.
So if this is the fund he's referring to, I would think we'd want, and especially if we've already spent 2,000 as of June 30th,
Yeah.
he'd probably want that to go up to 4. Yeah, he's, what was he, 12,000 under budget last year, probably gonna do the same this year. So if I hear back from him as far as jostling, moving some numbers around, maybe he wants to take from somewhere else to bring that up to motor fuels up to 4, that's fine. If not, I will probably suggest at the next meeting that we move it up to 4. If Mary knows anything about a dedicated fund, you know, as far as this goes, motor fuels, it's dedicated for the motor fuels, and I'm guessing that would be the fuel fund.
And then were we gonna look into like a pre-buy with a gas station or something?
Yeah, yep.
Because if we have a fund of, let's say, $4,000, and we can go and buy the fuel at a good price at that time,
That'll just extend that $4,000.
then,
prior to 4.
yeah, it will. You know, I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
we were gonna see about that
Like,
Minnesota contract
yeah,
where people can get in underneath that contract.
yeah. 'Cause that would probably be helpful, cause then you could also look at the fuel and gas for, public works. And then maybe combine those and then you'd have more buying power and it would go a lot longer, a lot farther.
Does he think that 5,000's okay for training?
Yeah, he didn't want that changed. From what I read, he wants just to carry forward what we had in 20,
I was just thinking because they went to Indianapolis, are we going again? I mean,
yeah,
so,
he
okay,
didn't say anything about that, so.
okay.
And I think I CC'd you on the email
Yep.
about what we covered.
What about cleaning? So they have no budget for cleaning and do they not clean? Because we paid $720 for them to clean, for something to get cleaned. Are they not responsible for cleaning their own stuff?
You
Yeah,
go
I'm
over
not sure
there,
what
it doesn't
cleaning
look
is.
like it.
What's that?
When you go over there, it doesn't look like it. I didn't think about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I don't know what that one is.
Well, I think,
And then there's no budget for repairs or maintenance, but we're in the whole 1655 for that. On 4226.
and that's on building. I'm wondering if that was. I'm wondering if they moved that because it's attached to this building and they consolidated the building repairs under one. But I don't know why they would be coded the 1655 then. So that's a good question for Mary, we gotta find out then.
Yeah. Are we gonna, yeah, I guess I'd like to find out about the cleaning too. It's like it came out of nowhere. I don't know why it's there. And I'm wondering if it should be there.
Our cleaning lady didn't go there.
Right, right. So I guess that's a question. I was gonna email Jake, but the reality is I don't think he would know either. There's a reason that number was put in there, so.
I put question marks there, so
Okay.
let's see what Mary says about that through 323, Michelle, and 401.
And then, they've got new equipment, they spent $31,000 in 22, but they only budgeted 9.
When you get grants, it goes in there, and I thought for some weird reason he got a grant for, yeah, I think never.
Which one's that?
Obviously though, but
That was,
he got,
580.
didn't he get a COVID grant or
Yes.
grant for new aspirators, was it?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what that probably is. I think it was tanks, but.
Thanks, yeah, something, yeah, just. So one thing too, we'll check on is for maintenance and building repairs.
Okay.
We'll figure that out because
Yeah.
it's one building now and we have a lot of repairs
Yeah.
coming up, so.
Mhm, mhm.
It could be just a matter of posting it to the correct fund.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, so we'll figure that
Did you
one
hear
out.
from Sheila?
Nope.
You didn't bring that up.
Oh, I know. So Shayla, the person that does our cleaning, was gonna come by today at 8, but, unfortunately we missed her, she hasn't shown up, but she has a new bid for us. She said that she needs to increase her, cost to clean our building, and so she was gonna come and explain all that, she's not here. So, we need to find out with her if for some reason I'm not here.
Trying to charge you $650
Yeah.
for a month.
And she comes once a week. We need to narrow down what day.
All her own supplies.
Yeah, we need to narrow down a day that she's actually coming in. She cleans up here and downstairs, not the fire department,
Library.
and the library, and she uses all her own supplies. So,
Okay.
she said basically the increase was to cover the supplies, but she wanted to bring it in and explain that. Unfortunately, we didn't see it today.
Okay, and just while we're on that, what line is that under? Is that under administration? Where is that cleaning line?
I believe, if I had to take a guess, Troy, I would guess it's under administration.
I'm looking at that.
I'm guessing though, so.
Operating supply, I mean, it should probably be separated
Have its
out,
own, yeah, under janitorial or,
something, yeah. Custodial, whatever, but let's find out where it's been going.
and
I don't-
we don't have to make any decision on that, because we
Yeah.
don't even have a clue what it is. She can cover the.
Right, right. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just- Since you brought it up, we might as well clear.
It's
found it.
under general government buildings,
Okay, thank you.
cleaning services,
Page,
page,
Four.
four, top.
Okay.
got it. Thank you.
323.
So let's leave that, well, obviously until we get, if she can
Right.
email us, Michelle, if she calls, just have her email us what her, new rate's gonna be. We also talked about asking her about carpet cleaning, because we don't know what's included with, I mean, we know that's extra, but the building needs to be carpet cleaned, so.
Mhm.
But we do wanna narrow down with her what day of the week she's coming.
Are we getting bids for this?
We should,
There she's changing her pricing.
so I'll look and see, I can see who's around there, and we have quite a few of them, I know that, I see them advertising all the time, so. So, yeah, no, I mean, I think we should definitely. Anything else?
Do you have all this, Michelle? Is there anything else? Okay.
I'm taking it, let's do this. So we'll
Okay,
try
there's a lot of information going on, so thank you.
For a newbie, yeah.
Thank you both. Yes. We're all newbies.
Okay, so that wraps up today. Next week, the 31st, we're gonna do Wannigan Days. We actually did our, we'll wanna talk about lighting festival or lighting committee, any special projects, administration wages, we need to figure that one out, and that's about it.
How are we doing on public works? Because I know Tim had some questions last time, you're still looking into stuff. Do we?
I haven't heard.
Okay, that's, I'm just curious.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I wanted to put the wages on hold too, so that
Okay.
we're all on the same, so.
I did meet with Kevin Tuesday morning. We went over the sewer, wastewater,
Okay.
and pretty much everything was gonna stay the same, except for we wanted to up repairs and maintenance equipment, and
Which page are you on?
Is that 5?
that is, no, it's 13. Well, that might not be 13 on this sheet. Oh, it should.
I see.
Well, actually it'd be 15 on the new one you just got.
Okay.
Yeah, we were looking at, repairs and maintenance. We're looking at upping from 10 to 20 on that.
Yeah, cause right now we're over it.
Yeah.
9,900 over.
Something like that. And then the, new equipment, we wanted to go from 55 up to 8. Just trying to plan on, between the streets, the water and the sewer, to get enough for another truck eventually. Like, either a 3/4 ton or 1 ton that could mount the plow on in case the 1 ton goes down, or, yeah, 4-wheel drive. None of those pickups are 4-wheel drive other than the 1 ton right now, which wouldn't work very good for plowing snow.
Yeah.
In case the big truck goes down during a snowstorm or something. So just to up a few things, and with the, force main out here, you know, being that we had that break this year, it's done it other years, things are getting old and gonna need a little bit more for repair. But that was just a couple numbers that we threw in to,
Do you think we should up the training and instruction?
no, he said that was okay.
Okay. So keep that at 450.
I think his dad's working for free anyway, right?
Yeah. His dad's very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we just keep that the way it is. And everything else. But the one that I didn't understand was the transfers out. I have no idea what that is.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think
That's a question mark on that. I don't know if that transfers out to, you know, some of the equipment is used between the water and
Okay.
the sewer department. I don't know what that actually means, so
Yeah, we should.
figure out what that is.
Find out, yeah.
Yeah. So otherwise, I mean, if you look at the fund, it's looking pretty good. Looking pretty good today. But we haven't had a ton of repairs.
That's good.
Oh, yeah, we were gonna. There was something that we thought was in the wrong, back in Public Works. We thought the repair out here got billed to Public Works. You know, out here in front.
The water main?
Yeah, the force main.
Okay.
Because there was a high number there, but under repairs for the sewer here, there wasn't
So,
Okay, it looks like we got sewer sales underwater fund. Maybe that's not it, that one.
No.
I'm looking for stuff I
yeah, if you look in the Public Works, under repairs, that was a pretty high number, but then I know that repair out there was 10,000 or something like that. Let's see here, proposed work repairs.
we're negative 2,481 on that.
Yeah,
Our equipment is negative 18, I bet you're right.
Where are you looking?
Page 5,
Yeah.
404.
yeah. See, that's up to 23 today, well, 18, minus 18. I think that repair out here got billed to that line, we just need to find out.
Okay.
And if it was, then we need to move that repair out here over to, the sewer fund. You see what I'm talking about, Michelle?
found. 18,000,
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
yeah, cause that,
that would be, Olson, sewer, I think it's called.
yeah, you're busting, huh? Yeah, that's way too high.
Yeah, so we just need to look at that.
That's not right.
So other than that, that's, everything else I thought was looking good.
Well, thank you.
Yep.
Just to show to, just if you guys go to page 12 before we're done here, I know we're over time. Mary did move or create the new public works and equipment fund
Oh,
under capital fund now. So
okay.
that whatever, we raise for new trucks
Okay.
will show up there moving
Oh,
forward.
okay.
So we need to decide how much, I think we're at like 210 or something like that, 214 total, and we'll have to get that. We'll get the correct balance. And then we need to decide how we're gonna disperse that, or how we want to, put it, how much we wanna put in public works now, and how much we wanna put in new fire equipment.
Right.
Or new fire truck fund.
Yeah, I see that. New fire
So-
equipment. New public works.
So we can move those, I mean, that's up to what you guys want.
So are we still gonna call it the capital fund, right?
Yeah, I think Brian says always is to say capital, but then we just have a sub.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
So we'll have a public works, new equipment and
yeah.
fire truck.
Yeah.
Or fire department, so.
All right.
Is it okay that they have the same numbers? Like, she's got the 43,100 and then 580, and then she's got 49,500 and 580. You want those?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, it is
We can
there.
ask.
Fire new equipment, okay, so she did set up,
Oh, is the 4950 the fire department then?
49,500.
Yeah. Must be.
Is this easier?
Yeah, no, 42260 is fire department.
And what?
What is it?
That's
49
it.
must-
Can't you get these things printed up through Banyan?
42260 is the fire department.
Oh.
So she just
That's
used,
not even,
yeah,
not even it then.
she did,
So these gotta be corrected, these numbers.
cause I see 49,450 for. That was page 4, right, or did?
Fire is 4. I don't see 49,500 in here.
Right here.
No, I mean.
Oh,
anywhere
oh,
else.
the other
That could
stuff.
take
Oh, okay.
those.
Yep.
And she has, 42260,580 new equipment under fire.
Right.
So are we taking this out, this
Right.
new equipment, are we taking it out of the fire department and moving it to the capital
Right.
expenses? Otherwise, we have it in here twice, or are we establishing a new number?
Well, I think last time we talked to, and
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken, I think like capital equipment, no matter what, has to be for vehicles, like heavy duty equipment.
Right.
And
So,
then equipment would be.
Big items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then like.
Right,
under
I'm
fire
just saying,
department-
she's got the same numbers, so like,
yeah, we can't do that, I think Molly's got onto something there, we really don't, this new equipment under the fire department is completely a separate deal.
Yeah,
So,
the 9,000 that they have should be
Right.
for
right, so
Right.
we
stuff
don't,
for the
need to-
trucks or stuff for them.
we don't wanna remove that,
Nope.
and if she's
Right.
using a 580,
We'll have to ask
that's
that.
probably not a good idea.
yeah.
Right.
So
Well,
don't get
and maybe
mixed
you
up.
can make it fire new equipment vehicles or versus
Right,
equipment or something.
right.
Fire new equipment dash CAP capital, so we know it's.
And do the same thing for the public works.
Public
Yeah.
Works, yeah.
Okay. We'll ask, we'll do. All right,
All right,
anything else? Good, for now?
for now.
Okay. I need, I guess, a motion and a second to have adjourned, but to.
Dismiss. Or dismiss.
No,
To continue with,
Continue.
yeah.
at the next,
Yes, I will make that motion to continue this meeting on August 31st at 8 a.m.
Second.
All right, we have a second, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. It's flashing here, it didn't say it. I just missed it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Good to see you guys.